She had a low salary and no savings, and she couldn't see any hope for the future. Every morning at 7 a.m., she had to leave for work, and wouldn't be home until it was completely dark. Her salary barely covered the basics. To get the full attendance bonus, she never dared to take a day off. Every day was a monotonous routine between home and work. Every morning before leaving, Shaoji had to help her disabled mother into a wheelchair. Then she would start preparing food for the day. Shaoji had been taking care of her mother alone for 10 years. Her mother always felt like she was a burden to her daughter, but every time her mother habitually apologized, Shaoji didn't respond. Afterwards, she would leave their rented apartment to go to work. Shaoji worked as a waitress at a restaurant. While at work, her co-workers often gathered to gossip, but she never had any desire to join them. On this Friday evening, after a long day of work, Shaoji walked past an upscale coffee shop. She saw people inside sipping expensive drinks while casually discussing their weekend plans. Shaoji never dared to go in and buy a drink, because the cost of one cup of coffee was the entire day's living expenses for her and her mother. After returning to her rented apartment, her mother, who had been at home all day, kept talking about the latest news she heard on the radio. She also mentioned she had sent a letter to the station. Apparently, there was big news to share with Shaoji, but tired Shaoji wasn't in the mood to listen to her mother's chatter. She just responded absent-mindedly while going to the balcony to collect the laundry. Her coldness finally made her mother angry, but Shaoji was too exhausted to say anything, so the two of them had an argument. To make up with her mother, Shaoji took her outside the apartment. She pushed her mother against the night breeze, running. Then they went to the convenience store and bought the most expensive ice cream, eating the delicious ice cream they usually couldn't afford. Shaoji and her mother both calmed down. At that moment, her mother told Shaoji she had been selected as a lucky listener by the radio station and had won a free short trip. Her paralyzed mother couldn't participate in the trip, so she wanted Shaoji to go in her place. Shaoji was reluctant at first, but her mother firmly said it was a condition for them to make up. The next morning, Shaoji reluctantly began the 2-day short trip. She got on the bus arranged by the radio station. The guide told her the trip would be in groups of 3. She was paired with 2 girls of the same age. Unlike Shaoji, who was guarded and reserved, the 2 girls in her group were extremely friendly. They were both very outgoing, maybe because they were strangers. There was no concern about conflicts of interest. Throughout the trip, the 2 girls were always close to Shaoji. When they arrived at their destination, Shaoji was once again pulled by Shoko and Ryoha to go to the bathroom. They agreed to meet by the sign after using the restroom, but after Shaoji came out and waited for a while, the 2 girls still hadn't shown up. Just as she was about to check her phone, Shoko and Ryoha suddenly popped out from the side with a piece of cake. Afterward, they joined a baking activity. The most outgoing girl, so kept making noise next to Shaoji. While they were playing around and having fun, raised his phone and took a picture of the moment. Jim sent the photo to them, but when Shaoji saw the picture, she was stunned, because in that moment, she suddenly realized she hadn't laughed like this in a long time.